So I saw Avengers Endgame the other day, and I had some thoughts on it that I kind of wanted to express and share. I don't really know if anyone else had these thoughts, so I'm gonna put them out there. And also, I'm making this video to diversify the videos that I usually make. A lot of people make fun of me for saying that I make lots of videos on like relationships and on women and on incels and thoughts. So now after I make these next couple of videos about comic book heroes and movies, you guys can't say I only talk about incels and thoughts. So let's start. Okay, so here's the thing. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I really liked it. Even though most of this is gonna be like complaints about the movie. Oh, by the way, there's gonna be lots of spoilers here. If you haven't watched the film, don't watch this video. It wouldn't be wise. Anyhow, so overall, as a conclusion to the story that we had been given, I would have to say it works. It's cool, I guess it's all right. I just didn't like it as much as Infinity War, and I can explain the reasons why. There weren't as many new character interactions as I would have liked to see as a culmination of all these Marvel films, like Infinity War was. Infinity War, even though you didn't, I honestly was only disappointed that we didn't get more character interactions, but I still love the fact that the characters got to bounce off of each other and talk and see each other and interact. You didn't really get a lot of this in Endgame. Endgame is a story that focuses primarily on the original Avengers, and that's cool. It's not bad. I just, again, for a culmination film, I would have liked to see, more unique interactions. Of course, that couldn't happen based on the fact that, like, the roster of characters were dead for literally like 2 hours into the movie until the very end, which I'll get into in just a second. Like, I understand why it didn't occur, but then I kind of feel like that probably could have been solved in Infinity War by choosing which characters you were going to get rid of and which ones you're going to keep. So yeah, I think that's one thing that kind of disappoints me a little bit. I would have loved to see the characters actually spend more time and interact and talk to each other and share their opinions and everything. That's really fun to me. Again, we didn't really get a lot of that. So I guess to just start with the things that disappointed me about the movie. There's a lot. There's so much that disappoints me about the movie. I'm gonna make several different videos, probably like three. This one is gonna be primarily on the plot. The next one, I'm gonna talk about Captain Marvel. Yes, that's gonna be yes. Captain Marvel is gonna be her own video. Okay, seriously, because anyhow. And then the third one is gonna be me talking about Thanos, and I have so many different things to say about that. So let's to talk about the plot. I guess maybe this is more like general complaints and the plot as well. So like a general complaint, which I've seen a lot of people talk about, is how the movie is very slow to start. We spend a lot of time looking at the despair of the heroes, and I actually think that this is great. The only problems I really have are that I don't think the storylines kind of end up as heroic as they should be, especially for Thor, and I'll talk about him specifically in like a couple of seconds. Um, the movie spends a good amount of time showing us like that these heroes are sad, but I feel one issue I have is that the movie doesn't show like the honest effect of what removing half of the population would be. I honestly thought that this was a bit of a missed opportunity for like all the different Marvel shows that they created. I know the Marvel TV studios or Netflix studios, first of all, they've canceled, I think they've canceled all of their shows if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. They don't even exist anymore. But if they did exist, it would have been a great opportunity to show like how the world would have been affected by the fact that literally half the population is gone. That effect was not shown at all. And I think that if the movie was going to be this slow to start, then that absolutely should have been like a huge, like at least maybe 15 to 30 minutes of the first hour should have really been like to hammer in like the world is a much different fucking place now that all these people are gone. And it should really have shown us like just how deep the despair for everyone goes. Like the only thing we really got was Captain America had his like group meeting, but that only had all of what 7 people. I think I'm highballing that there. There's like group therapy where Cap is there talking about it, but like you don't see like the stock market being crashed. You don't see like the streets are dirty and everything, but like that seems a bit unreasonable 5 years later. That just entire neighborhoods would have been washed out, and even if the entire neighborhoods are just like gone, like they're the half that just disappeared, maybe you should see like kids exploring other people's houses, or people like sitting down remembering like their dogs that have been dusted away. I honestly think there should have been more points in the film, at the beginning specifically, that really hammered in like the depth of just how randomly losing someone or something you loved would cost you. And we did get to see like the thing that bothered me is that the hero seemed more upset about losing or being defeated more so than like losing people. Maybe that's I'm probably might be misinterpreting that there, but it seemed to me more like the despair wasn't honestly like, wow, I lost my friend. It's like, wow, we couldn't save the world. And I guess, I mean the despair is one of the same. I guess you could consider it to be that way. But honestly, I think like there was one moment I do think I really did like was when you saw Tony Stark picked out the picture of Peter Parker, after he put his daughter to sleep, and he's like, and he thinks about it for a second, and he's like, okay, yeah, maybe I should actually do something. So I wish we had more moments like that, of individual people or heroes when they're really kind of crushed by the fact that it's not just that they lost, but like the weight, like the depth of their failure was really like we lost people that we love. And I don't really think the movie, for as long as that opening sequence was, didn't really hammer that in as much as it could have. So I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity. Moving forward, one thing that kind of really bothered me a lot, which I actually thought was great, was Thor's conclusion. Thor didn't really get the upswing that he should have gotten based on like his hero's journey from Infinity War to now. I really loved the fact that they gave like Thor became like what's the word I'm looking for, like a happy depressed person. And of course that's something contradiction, but if you've been around people who've been depressed, a lot of the times they put on a front of being happy and secure when really they're like really really sad and in there a lot of pain. And I feel like they did a great job turning Thor into that character. He's fat now, he has a beer gut. He's just really destroyed by his failure. And I think one of the things that disappointed me was he never really got a chance to truly like redeem himself as the great character that he really is. I mean, he did get a nice fight scene. Oh, it's a fucking awesome fight scene where Cap, Iron Man, Captain America fight Thanos. That was cool. But like, there wasn't really a moment that really like redeemed Thor's character, I feel. And like the Thor himself that really showed Thor that he definitely was important. That maybe he failed then, but he succeeded now. There's no point where Thor's character was able to really be like, well, okay, I fucked up here, but now my actions like have actually worked, and now I've actually like saved people. And I think it would have been nice to have scenes where Thor like, I don't know, even if it's just him saving a couple of random people, or Thor getting in a good hit on Thanos in some one-on-one part, or Thor actually, being instrumental in the defeat of Thanos, which I'll go into in my video when I talk about Thanos as a character. I think that definitely would have satisfied me more, because I think they did a really great job of showing us that like Thor was definitely affected by the fact that he failed, and like it really destroyed him. But at the same time, we didn't really see him recover as well as I think we could have, or it wasn't executed as well as I think it could have been. So I think that really kind of bothered me. And so then next we have to talk about, and this will probably be the last part of this video in particular, the general plot of the movie was just totally friggin' hidden by the trailers. Now, a lot of people who like looked at set photos, and a lot of people who like really studied like the set and then like looked for leaks and spoilers and scripts, they knew, or at least I knew, time travel was going to be a part of the movie, based on the set photos and pictures and videos I saw. Or at least we speculated that. So the main bulk of the movie, I feel, is kind of wasted, and that might insult some people, but you realize, at least from what I've seen, there's a whole lot of nothing happening in this movie. And by a whole lot of nothing happening, I mean the plot like really advancing towards a point. In every single Avengers movie, there's an event point that is going to come. Like Ultron is going to try to wipe out a huge amount of human civilization, if not total human extinction, right? Every step of what Ultron is doing is going to get you here. But in Infinity War, again, every step of the movie is Thanos getting another Infinity Stone to get to the end point, him wiping out half of the universe. Again, we see that's the plot of the movie, A to B to C. But in EndGame, the plot fell a little all over the place, because the plot is our heroes are going back in time to each specific point in time to get the Infinity Stones to bring them back to the present in order to use them to undo what Thanos did. That's the plot that you never could have gained from watching the movie. Not only do I hate time travel plots that have no consequences, like I despise that with a passion. And I'll explain why in a second. But the problem is because the movie spent so much time on each pocket of the time that the heroes went back in time, the plot wasn't moving forward. Like we were literally in an event that we'd seen from a different perspective. So there wasn't really anything new, but just a different perspective of what we'd seen before. And I feel like they didn't really connect very well with each other, kind of in their nature. Because in the nature of each Marvel film that had the Infinity Stones in them, they didn't connect with each other. I mean, well, actually, sometimes they did. Actually, they did a lot of the time. But they connected at the end of the film, which led to the next one, rather than they were concurrent events happening at the same time. And so I feel like the film wasn't as focused as it probably could have been and should have been. Because I honestly don't think that should have been the plot, which might be a bold statement. Maybe you enjoyed the time travel a lot. Maybe you did. I don't know. But I personally would have liked to see a movie where the focus is more on our heroes, like having a direct confrontation with the Thanos that did what he did. Having Thanos get killed literally at the beginning of the movie, only for his past self to show up and them fight, it kind of, for me, doesn't hold the same emotional resonance, because the Thanos that they fight is a Thanos that hasn't even done the events that occurred before. So if you beat him before everything happens, I mean, I guess it could feel cathartic, but for me personally, it doesn't seem right to punish someone for something they haven't done yet. Excuse me. And I don't think that, I mean, there's the prideful satisfaction of defeating someone who wronged you, is kind of lost when that person hasn't wronged you yet. Maybe I'm thinking a little too hard about it, but I think it would have had more emotional weight if the Thanos that was defeated was the one that was succeeded and then undercut, versus the Thanos who never actually got to do anything at all, who never even, got to actually enact his plan. Because again, they straight cap the Thanos that even caused this problem at the beginning of the movie. So I feel like that I don't know. I don't really like the fact that they used past Thanos, when they killed him, because that kind of opens up the door to alternate different timelines that just will never be touched or addressed. And that's a huge issue to me, because I think way too hard about these movies. And that is the fact that, like, literally, if you remove Thanos from 2014, literally all of the events that occurred would never happen. So, like, what the fuck would that universe look like? I don't know. And now it'll never be touched. Like, it'll never be a thought in anyone's mind ever at the fact that Thanos from 2014 is dead, which means all those events that would have occurred to even create the situation to even create a time traveling machine would never come to pass. Thus, it would never happen. Thus, the situation that they fought never would have happened to begin with, and everything doesn't even exist. Now, apparently, Bruce did explain, albeit very briefly, this is basically Dragon Ball Z time travel logic, which basically means you can go back in time and do whatever you want, and it'll create an alternate timeline. But if you go back to your present or where you came from, nothing changes. Okay, sure. Fine, I guess. If that's how you want to work your time traveling story, I mean, you do you. The only issue I have with that is that it's consequence-free time traveling, which honestly means there's like literally no reason to never not use it, to not use it. Because, like, if you think about it critically for a second, like, honestly, it wouldn't matter if you create an alternate timeline to you if you never have to experience it. Which, I mean, that's like incredibly selfish. Like, if you say that's really, really selfish, you're like, yeah, that's true, but, like, who gives a fuck? That's a problem for you in another world. That's you in another timeline. And because time traveling as a mechanic is so powerful, I feel like there always has to be consequences to your actions, because otherwise the internal logic of the film series just kind of comes down to, why the fuck don't you just travel in time and just do something different? This is one of the biggest issues with, I think a lot of people could have with Doctor Strange having the time stone, which is a good thing it's gone now, because it's like, when you are at a point where you can manipulate time itself, it's like, well, okay, what problem will you ever, like, solve or ever come across that you just can't fix? Like, and here's the thing, some people may not like the Flash, the CW Flash, or may not even watch it, but they handle time travel a lot better there, where every time you go back in time to try to change something, it always affects this time space continuum in some way. There's always going to be some kind of difference or some kind of effect. Now, sometimes the effect kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's just kind of used more to just have a different storyline idea for like the writers to just explore a different storyline. Like, yeah, that occurs sometimes. Like Flashpoint in the DC Universe comic book series, I mean, the world was a lot worse when it really didn't need to be, and some events changed that don't really make any sense based on the fact that the Flash saved his mom. But whatever, like that's really an extreme form of that. But at the same time, the TV show, events might change and you might have like different effects on things, but they all do kind of like piece together, or it does make sense how you would have gotten there. Well, sometimes it does. The point is, there's consequences to your actions. So when it comes down to why doesn't Barry just go back in time constantly over and over again to fix this problem, it's like, okay, he can do that, but if he does, he's going to end up creating another problem. That was literally like season 3 of The Flash. The point is, there should be consequences to the actions of using a mechanic that powerful. Otherwise, there's no reason to not use it. And this is why I don't really like time traveling stories. Not only because, as like for the movie itself, there's a whole lot of nothing happening, or it's not accurate to say there's nothing happening. It's a whole lot of the plot not being advanced because we're stuck in the past, literally. But also because I feel like it really takes away from what I think should have been the emotional catharsis of the film, and that is like an honest final confrontation with the Thanos who wronged you. You know, I think like coming like and if not, and maybe I should just like focus this on my whole video on Thanos. I'll probably keep that for the whole video on Thanos. I think the last thing I'll say about the plot here for Avengers Endgame is that honestly, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking honestly, there's really no need to go back in time and collect all of the Infinity Stones. You really would only ever need to just collect the Time Stone and just use the Time Stone on the Infinity Gauntlet, and that would just recreate all of the different stones, and then you send that one back in time, and and there you go. There's your movie. Now, you wouldn't have a movie if you just like got the Time Stone, and if you wanted to be pedantic or like pay enough attention to detail, you would realize that the only people in the world who knew that the Time Stone had the capability of like, you know, isolated time reversal would be Doctor Strange, and he got dusted. Scarlet Witch, she got dusted, and Thanos, and he destroyed the Time Stone. So it is fair to say no one alive would know that the Time Stone could have done that. So it is fair. Okay, yeah, maybe they would think that they need to collect all 6 stones. Okay, that would make sense. But at the same time, I feel like there probably should have been someone there to address that, like, yeah, we literally could just get the Time Stone and manipulate time with that thing, and that would undercut the need to literally create alternate timelines and alternate realities that will never be addressed. And that's something that really bothers me, is the fact that so much has changed in the past, but like, there's far-reaching effects that will never fucking matter. At least as far as I know, it'll never matter. Now, maybe Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe is like a fracturing of reality based on these events, and that would be awesome to see. Maybe I could be totally wrong, and this video will be really dated, and I kind of hope so, because that would be crazy to see like the fabric of reality is fundamentally changed, the timeline is fundamentally changed based on what these people did. Awesome stuff. But if it's not, then it's like, wow, you introduced literally fucking time traveling, and it's like, hey, we're not going to use this thing because we're the good guys and we're good and we are all righteous. It's like, no, fuck that. Like, if you really had that much power, like you could like legit play God at that point. Like, you could legit play God at that point with time travel, and it's like, did you guys not consider like how disgustingly powerful a mechanic that shit is if it's consequence free? I mean, like, if you are a cutthroat, like, if you really just don't care about alternate realities that you'll never experience nor have the ability to even go into or see, then, I mean, what's the problem? For you personally, or for your reality personally? I don't really see one, so I didn't really like it all that much. And also, again, the fact that no one acknowledged that you could legit just use a time stone and fix all your problems is like, that's an attention to detail that probably shouldn't have been glossed over, but it was. So yeah, that's just me being pedantic. So this video went on a little bit longer than I probably thought it should. And like I said, this is only like part 1. We're gonna keep going with this one. And in the next video, I'm gonna talk about what I like to call the Captain Marvel problem. I got a whole bunch to say about Captain Marvel. So that being said, I just hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you got something out of it. To end the video off with this, I did enjoy the movie. I'm not making these complaints to say that I hated the movie or it's a bad movie or anything like that. I did enjoy the movie. I just felt like the plot should have been a little bit more focused, in my opinion, on an honest confrontation with the Thanos that wronged them, rather than them spending time traveling and all of that. I really didn't like that about the movie. I still did like I liked what we got. I just felt like we probably should have gotten something else. If you wanted my opinion on what it should have been, I mean, I'd have to sit around and think about it. Because like I would have to create like a whole different story. I don't like it so much that like I don't really even think I could tweak it. Like I could tweak like The Last Jedi, or I could tweak like The Force Awakens, or I could tweak any other film. So with that being said, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. And shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.